Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're in tech right now, you already know we are living through a massive fundamental shift. The whole way we build products, manage our teams, and honestly, just spend our daily working lives, it's being completely transformed by AI. Today, we're getting right into exactly how AI tools are changing the game. Specifically, we're going to focus on how to automate all those tedious, repetitive tasks that just drain your energy so you can shift your focus back to what actually matters. Take a real hard look at your calendar right now. Ask yourself, are you a builder or are you an information mover? Seriously, how much of your day is spent actually creating something brand new versus just moving information from one person to another? You know what I mean, right? Formatting a status update for your boss so they can format it for their boss. Sitting in those endless, soul-crushing alignment meetings. If you're feeling deeply exhausted and maybe even a little anxious about the sheer pace of change in the industry right now, you are absolutely not alone. It's happening because the old way of doing things is officially breaking down. Okay, let's dive into this. Because this quote from tech executive and product leader Nikhil Singhal really hits the nail on the head. He says the information mover is essentially going to become a dinosaur. The era where you could get paid top dollar just to coordinate and pass information around, yeah, that is coming to a very rapid end. The industry is actively shedding roles that basically just act as human routers for data. But hey, don't panic, because what's actually replacing this old model is incredibly exciting for anyone who's willing to adapt. Part 1. Death of Information Movers. Why Traditional Product Management is Breaking. And this brilliantly illustrates the shift. For years, the traditional PM model was, honestly, just responsibility without authority. It meant these grueling 6 to 12-month cycles of begging, borrowing, and trying to align 20 different stakeholders just to get a single line of code written. It was literally the ultimate recipe for burnout, a system that rewarded just moving information around rather than actually building things. But the new AI-native approach, it completely collapses those timelines. You can go from an idea to getting it into users' hands almost immediately. It is all about being a builder again. To show you just how incredibly fast things are moving, Kat Wu, she's the head of product for Claude Code over at Anthropic, shared that their development timelines have shrunk from 6 months down to a month, then to a week, and sometimes all the way down to a single day. One day. Because AI has accelerated the actual engineering so intensely, the premium is no longer on spending quarters doing roadmap alignment. No way. The premium is now on figuring out the absolute fastest way to get a concept out the door and tested in the real world. Which brings us to Section 2, the rise of product judgment, the new premium skill in tech. Think about it. If AI is making the creation of code incredibly cheap and ridiculously fast, human value shifts entirely to your judgment. You don't have to be the one grinding out the code or writing those repetitive docs anymore, but you absolutely have to be the one deciding what actually gets built. This right here is the new essential skill. We call it product taste or product judgment. It's the ability to look at, say, 100 different feature requests and accurately evaluate what is actually good, what's sustainable, and what truly solves the user's core problem. You see, humans still possess something that AI models currently lack, which is tactical common sense and real empathy. The AI doesn't always know who all your complex stakeholders are, or what their nuanced preferences are, or the exact right venue to communicate a sensitive change. Your EQ and your taste, those are your new superpowers. So the crucial point is exactly what Kat Wu says here. As code becomes much cheaper to write, the thing that becomes more valuable is deciding what to write. Your brain power has got to be hyper-focused on high-level decision-making now. If you've got an engineering team that can suddenly execute 10 times faster because of AI, or if you yourself can build prototypes 10 times faster, your main job is making sure you are running incredibly fast in the absolute right direction. Moving on to Section 3, automating your repetitive tasks, freeing up your time for inspiration. But here's the catch, right? You really can't use your high-level judgment if you're still drowning in the busy work of the old era. The ultimate solution is leaning into AI tools like Claude to handle all that manual alignment, the endless slide decks, and the tedious documentation. But to do this effectively, it's all about show, don't tell. AI tools are completely useless if they don't have your context. When Kat Wu uses Anthropic's internal agent tools, she connects these exact core data sources. We're talking Slack, Google Calendar, Gmail, and Google Drive. You literally have to feed the AI your source of truth, because once it has access to the threads you actually care about and the specific documents your team is working on, it goes from being just a generic chatbot to a highly customized extension of your own brain. Let's dive into Section 4, Building with Claude in Action, Real-World Workflows from Anthropic. Let's move to and see how this builds in reality. Take a massive, tedious task like building a 20-page conference presentation from scratch.
First, Kat made absolutely sure her data sources were connected. Second, she fed the AI a rough draft, one she didn't even really like, along with just a few bullet points of the narrative she wanted to hit. Third, she went to sleep. Literally. And while she slept, the AI searched through Twitter for past product launches, scoured internal Slack launch rooms, synthesized all the demos, applied Anthropic's exact branded design system, and generated a highly polished 20-page deck. Step 4? She woke up, gave it a little human feedback to trim down the word count, and she was completely done. We're talking about hours, maybe days of work, completely reduced to just minutes of high-level judgment.
And the really beautiful thing about all this is that the tool stack is getting incredibly specific to your needs. If your output is code, you're using something like Claude Code right in the terminal to iterate incredibly fast. If your output is non-code, like Cat Slide Deck or finally getting to inbox 0, you're using an agentic tool like Cowork. And if you have a highly specific, repeatable problem, you can just build a custom app. There is this amazing story of an Anthropic sales rep who was just so tired of manually tailoring pitch decks for 30 minutes per client. So using AI, he just built a custom web app. It pulls live context straight out of Salesforce and generates a hyper-customized deck in seconds. He quite literally automated the part of his job he hated.
Which leads us to Section 5, how to obsolete yourself, the ultimate goal for the AI-era worker. Nikhil Singhal shares this awesome story about asking a brilliant engineer for the definition of a truly great engineer. The answer? An engineer is someone who obsoletes themselves from everything they do. If there is a manual, repetitive process taking up a chunk of your day, your top priority should be writing an AI prompt or an agent workflow to just do it for you. So, are you ready to obsolete yourself? Now, entering this tunnel of change is terrifying, for sure. It requires real energy and honestly swallowing your ego a bit. You kind of have to admit that the way you mastered working over the last decade might be totally irrelevant now. But once you push through that tunnel, what waits on the other side is joy. It's the joy of actually building again. It's the joy of replacing all those yellow and red alignment meetings on your calendar with the deep, deep satisfaction of actually fixing problems and shipping things at the speed of thought. Now, what's really interesting about this is how AI completely flips Thomas Edison's famous quote right on its head. Think about it. For all of human history, execution, that 99% perspiration, was the main bottleneck. You just had to grind. But now, AI is stepping in to handle the endless perspiration for you. It's doing the coding, the formatting, the synthesizing, the whole shebang. Which means, for the very first time ever, you are completely free to just be the 1% inspiration. So the real question is, now that you don't have to sweat the small stuff, what are you going to inspire? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you next time.